She collapsed on the yellow footprints. Blood dripped from her palms. 47 recruits stared. The drill sergeant's face twisted with disgust. "You won't last a day here, Thompson." But when the commander saw her name tag during inspection, his face went white. He stumbled backward. Your father saved my life." What happened next shocked everyone at boot camp. This is Riley's story.
The bus door hissed open. Riley Thompson stepped down onto the yellow footprints, and her right knee buckled. She caught herself on the handrail. Her fingers went white. "Move, move, move!" Drill Sergeant Moore's voice cut through the humid South Carolina air like a blade. Riley limped forward. Each step sent lightning up her thigh. The other recruits flowed around her like water around a rock. 47 young bodies in civilian clothes, all of them whole, all of them strong. "What's wrong with you?" Moore's face appeared 2 inches from hers. His breath smelled like coffee and rage. "Nothing, sir." "I'm not a sir. I work for a living. You address me as Drill Sergeant. Now answer the question." "Nothing, Drill Sergeant." Moore's eyes moved down to her leg, back up to her face. "We'll see about that." The processing building was a gray concrete box. Riley filled out forms, medical history, next of kin. Her pen hesitated over the emergency contact line. She wrote her mother's number, not her father's, never her father's. Thompson, a female recruit, sat down next to her, blonde hair pulled back tight, perfect posture. She pointed at Riley's name tag. "Any relation to Sergeant Major Marcus Thompson?" Riley's hand cramped around the pen. "No." "Sure." The blonde's smile didn't reach her eyes. "My dad served with him. Everyone knows the name Thompson. Everyone knows what he did in Fallujah back in 2004. "I said no." "Whatever. I'm Kayla Chen. My dad's a colonel, 3rd-generation Marine." She looked at Riley's leg. "What happened there?" "IED, Afghanistan. I was 10. Kayla's eyebrows went up. "You were in Afghanistan as a kid?" "My dad was stationed there. We lived on base. Wrong place, wrong time." Riley stood up. Her knee screamed. She didn't let it show on her face. "Wait!" Kayla grabbed her arm. "You got blown up and you're trying to join the Marines? Are you insane?" Riley pulled free. "Maybe." That night they shaved her head. 47 recruits standing in line, watching brown and black and blonde hair fall to the floor. Riley watched her dark curls pile up around her boots. She looked like him now. She looked like the photos. The barracks smelled of bleach and fear. 60 metal beds in 2 rows. Riley claimed a bottom bunk in the back corner. She sat down slow. Her knee had swollen to the size of a softball. "You won't make it." The voice came from above her. A tall black girl hung her head over the edge of the top bunk. "I'm Maya. I run a 5:30 mile. I can do 70 push-ups. I've been training for this since I was 15, and I'm scared I won't make it. So you, with that leg? No chance." Riley didn't answer. She lay back and stared at the metal frame above her. "Why are you even here?" Maya wouldn't stop. "Let me guess. Daddy was a Marine? You think you owe him something? You think if you can do this it'll make up for something? Go to sleep, Maya." "I'm right, though. I can see it on your face. You got that look, that 'I'm doing this for someone else' look. That's how I know you'll quit." The lights went out at 2100 hours. Riley didn't sleep. Her knee throbbed in the dark. She counted her heartbeats. 1, 2, 3, 400, 500. At 500 hours, the lights exploded on. Drill Sergeant Moore stood in the doorway with a metal trash can. He threw it against the wall. The crash was a bomb going off. "Up, up, up. You have 2 minutes to be outside in formation." Riley's feet hit the floor. Pain shot through her entire right side. She pulled on her PT gear, gray shirt, black shorts, running shoes that cost her 3 months of paychecks from the restaurant. Outside, the sun hadn't risen yet. The air was thick enough to drink. 47 recruits stood in crooked lines. 3-mile run, Moore said. Anyone falls out, you're all starting over. They ran. Riley's knee gave out at mile 1. She hit the pavement. Skin tore off her palms. Kayla stopped. Get up. Go. Riley tasted blood in her mouth. I said get up. Kayla grabbed her arm and pulled. We're not starting over because of you. Riley stood. They ran. Her vision went white at the edges. Her knee wasn't a knee anymore. It was just pain shaped like a joint. Mile 2. She fell again. This time Maya stopped. Come on, princess. You wanted to be here, so be here. They half-carried her, one girl on each side. Riley's feet barely touched the ground. The finish line appeared. 47 recruits collapsed on the grass. Moore walked over. He looked down at Riley. My office, now. The office was small and cold. Riley stood at attention. Her leg shook. Sit down before you fall down. Moore pointed at a chair. Riley sat. Why are you here, Thompson? To serve my country, drill sergeant. Wrong. Try again. To become a Marine, drill sergeant. Still wrong. Moore leaned back in his chair. You're here because of him. I can smell it on you, that guilt, that need to prove something. I've seen 100 kids like you, sons and daughters of heroes, trying to fill boots that don't fit. Riley's fingernails dug into her palms. You know what happens to kids like you? You break. And when you break, you hurt the Marines next to you. You become a liability. He picked up a folder, her medical records. 18 surgeries, permanent nerve damage, 70% function in your right leg. The recruiter should have disqualified you. I passed the physical, drill sergeant. You lied on the physical. Open the folder. Says here you claimed full recovery. Want to explain that? The room was very quiet. I need this, Riley whispered. Why? Because he died thinking I hated him. We had a fight the day before. I told him I wished he'd never been my father. Those were the last words I said to him. Then the IED hit our convoy, and I woke up in a hospital, and he was just gone. Moore closed the folder. How old were you? 10. And you've been carrying that for 9 years. Riley nodded. Your father was Marcus Thompson. It wasn't a question. Yes, drill sergeant. Moore was quiet for a long time. Get out of my office, recruit. Be ready for inspection at 1400 hours. Commander Vasquez is visiting. If you can't stand straight, you're done. Understand? Yes, drill sergeant. Riley limped back to the barracks. The other recruits watched her. No one spoke. She had 3 hours to make her body work. 3 hours to become someone her father wouldn't be ashamed of. She didn't know Commander Vasquez was the man her father saved in Fallujah 21 years ago. She didn't know everything was about to change.
If Riley's story is touching your heart right now, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Stories like this take hours to research and create. Your like helps us share more incredible veteran stories. Now, let's see what Commander Vasquez does next.
Riley stood in front of her bunk. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She had 2 hours and 47 minutes until inspection. Her knee was the size of a grapefruit now. Purple and yellow bruises spread down her calf like spilled paint. Here, Maya dropped down from the top bunk. She held out a white tube. Biofreeze. My mom sent it. She's a physical therapist. Riley took it. Thanks. Don't thank me. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it so we don't all fail inspection because you can't stand up straight." Maya sat on the edge of Riley's bunk. "But listen, whatever Moore said to you in there, whatever reason you have for being here, it's not worth destroying yourself. My mom says when a joint is damaged like yours, pushing it too hard can make it permanently worse, like wheelchair worse." Riley squeezed the gel onto her knee. The cold was a small mercy. "I know." "Then why?" "You wouldn't understand. Try me." Riley looked at Maya's face. She saw genuine concern there. Not pity, not judgment. Just one human looking at another human who was hurting. "My dad saved 6 Marines in Fallujah in 2004. He was 23. They gave him the Medal of Honor. He became this legend, this perfect hero. And I was just his kid who couldn't walk right after the IED hit us. Every time someone found out who my dad was, they'd look at me like I was this tragic, broken thing attached to his legacy." Maya was quiet. Then she said, "So you're here to prove you're not broken." "I'm here because the last thing I said to him was that I hated him. I'm here because he died believing his own daughter thought he was a failure as a father. I'm here because maybe if I can do this, maybe if I can become what he was, it'll somehow make up for those words." "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." Maya stood up. "You can't bring him back. You can't take back what you said. You were 10 years old. Kids say terrible things. That's what kids do." "I know that." Riley's voice cracked. "But I have to try anyway." At 13:45 hours, the recruits assembled outside the barracks. They wore their pressed uniforms. Their boots shined like black mirrors. Riley stood in the back row. Her knee was numb from the gel and from willpower and from something deeper than both. Drill Sergeant Moore walked down the line. He checked every button, every crease, every hair that might be out of place. When he got to Riley, he stopped. He looked at her face. Then he moved on without a word. At 1400 hours exactly, a black USV pulled up. Commander Luis Vasquez stepped out. He was 52 years old, gray at his temples, 3 rows of ribbons on his chest. He moved like a man who'd been broken and put back together wrong. "Attention!" Moore's voice rang out. 47 backs went straight. 47 chins went up. Vasquez walked down the first row, then the second. He stopped at a tall boy with red hair. "Where are you from, recruit?" "Ohio, sir." "Why are you here?" "To serve, sir." Vasquez nodded and moved on. He asked the same questions down the line. "Where are you from? Why are you here?" Most of the answers were the same. "To serve, to be a Marine, to make my family proud." Then he got to the back row. He stopped in front of Kayla. "Name, recruit." "Kayla Chen, sir." "Your father is Colonel David Chen." "Yes, sir." "He's a good man. Make him proud." Vasquez moved to the next recruit, and the next. Then he was standing in front of Riley. She stared straight ahead. She didn't breathe. Her knee was screaming, but her face was stone. "Name, recruit." "Riley Thompson, sir." Vasquez froze. His whole body went rigid. The air changed. Every recruit felt it. Moore felt it. The world held its breath. Vasquez leaned forward. He read her name tag, Thompson. Then he looked at her face, really looked at it. His hand started to shake. "How old are you?" His voice was barely a whisper. 19, sir." "Your father. What was your father's name?" Riley's throat closed up. "Marcus Thompson, sir." Vasquez took a step back.
His face went white. Sergeant Major Marcus Thompson, Medal of Honor recipient, killed in action, Afghanistan, 2016. Yes, sir. The other recruits were staring now. Moore moved closer, his face confused. You're his daughter. Vasquez wasn't asking. He was stating a fact like he was trying to make it real in his own mind. Yes, sir. Vasquez turned to Moore. Drill Sergeant, I need to speak with this recruit, privately, now. Moore's jaw tightened. Sir, we're in the middle of inspection. I don't care. Now. They walked to Moore's office. Riley's limp was worse. The gel had worn off. Each step was agony. Vasquez walked behind her. He was breathing hard, like he'd just run 10 miles. Inside the office, Vasquez closed the door. He didn't tell Riley to sit. He didn't tell her to stand at ease. He just looked at her.
November 10th, 2004. Fallujah, Iraq. I was a second lieutenant, 24 years old. I'd been in country for 3 weeks. We were clearing a building. The insurgents had rigged it with explosives. The whole thing came down. My legs were pinned under concrete. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The building was on fire. Riley's heart was pounding. 6 of us were trapped. Your father was in the street. He'd already cleared his building. He heard the explosion. He ran back. Everyone told him not to. The whole structure was going to collapse. But he ran in anyway. Vasquez's voice broke. He pulled us out one by one. I was last. By the time he got to me, the smoke was so thick I couldn't see. He grabbed my vest and dragged me out. 20 seconds later, the whole building pancaked. If he'd been 20 seconds slower, I'd be dead. Riley's eyes burned. She blinked hard. After that day, your father and I stayed in touch. We weren't best friends, but we'd email sometimes. He sent me a picture of you once. You were maybe 7. You were wearing his cover. It was way too big for you. You were smiling. A tear ran down Riley's face. She wiped it away fast. When I heard he died in 2016, I went to the funeral. I stood in the back. I saw you there. You were on crutches. You looked so angry, so lost. Vasquez sat down in Moore's chair. I wanted to say something to you that day. I wanted to tell you what your father meant to me, what he meant to 6 families who still have their sons and brothers and fathers because of him. But you left before I could. Riley couldn't speak. Why are you here? Vasquez asked. And don't give me the standard answer. Tell me the truth. Riley's voice came out as a whisper. Because I told him I hated him. Because those were my last words to him. Because I need to prove I'm not just the broken girl who ruined his legacy. Vasquez stood up. He walked around the desk. He stood right in front of her. Your father talked about you all the time in his emails. He was so proud of you. Not because you were tough or strong or perfect. He was proud because you survived. Because you fought through 18 surgeries. Because you learned to walk again when the doctors said you never would. He told me once that you were braver than any Marine he ever served with. Riley's face crumpled. The tears came for real now. He never believed you hated him, not for 1 second. He knew you were 10. He knew you were in pain. He knew you were scared. He told me about that fight. He said he'd give anything to take back leaving for that patrol, to stay 1 more day and make sure you knew he loved you. I can't take it back. Riley's words came out in sobs. I can't tell him I didn't mean it. I can't fix it. No, you can't. But you can stop punishing yourself. Vasquez put his hand on her shoulder. Look at me, recruit.
Riley looked up. Your father didn't die thinking you hated him. He died knowing you loved him. He died knowing he had a daughter who was a fighter, who never quit, who survived something that should have killed her. Vasquez's own eyes were wet now, and he would be furious if he saw you destroying yourself trying to be him. You're not supposed to be Marcus Thompson. You're supposed to be Riley Thompson. That's enough. That's more than enough. The office door opened. Moore stood there. Sir, is everything? He stopped. He saw Riley crying. He saw Vasquez's face. She passes inspection. And drill sergeant, you're going to give this recruit whatever medical support she needs. Physical therapy, ice baths, whatever it takes. She's going to make it through boot camp. I'll personally ensure it. Moore's face was stone. Sir, with respect, I can't give special treatment to one recruit because of who her father was. You're not. You're giving proper medical treatment to a recruit who should never have been cleared for service with her injury. And you're going to do it while pushing her just as hard as everyone else. She can handle both. I know she can. Her father trained her for this her whole life without either of them realizing it. Vasquez turned back to Riley. You're going to finish this, not because of your father, not because of me, because you're a Marine. Do you understand? Riley stood straight. Her tears stopped. Yes, sir. Good. Now get back in formation. Riley walked out of the office. Every recruit was still standing at attention. They watched her come back. They saw her face. They saw something had changed. Kayla whispered, What happened? Riley didn't answer. She took her place in the back row. She stood tall. Her knee was on fire, but she didn't care anymore. The weight she had been carrying for 9 years was finally starting to lift. Commander Vasquez finished the inspection. Before he left, he stopped in front of the formation one last time. Your drill sergeant is going to make the next 12 weeks hell. Some of you won't make it. That's the truth. But the ones who do make it will be Marines, the finest fighting force on Earth. And when you graduate, you'll stand on those parade grounds and you'll know you earned it, every single one of you. Especially you, Thompson. Especially you. The SUV drove away. Moore dismissed them. The recruits broke formation and walked back to the barracks. Maya caught up with Riley. So you're going to tell us what that was about? Riley looked at her, then at Kayla, then at all the faces watching her. My dad saved Commander Vasquez's life 21 years ago in Fallujah. Vasquez didn't know I was here until he saw my name tag. The barracks went silent. Your dad is Marcus Thompson? Someone said from the back. The Medal of Honor guy? Was, Riley said quietly. He died 9 years ago. Kayla sat down hard on a bunk. That's why you're here. That's why you're doing this with a bad leg. You're trying to live up to him. No, Riley shook her head. I'm trying to let him go. There's a difference. That night, Riley slept, really slept, for the first time since arriving at Paris Island. When she woke up at 500, to the sound of Moore's trash can hitting the wall, she stood up without hesitation. Her knee hurt. It would always hurt. But pain was just pain. It wasn't failure. It wasn't weakness. It was just part of being alive. The next 12 weeks were the hardest of Riley's life. But she made it. Every run, every obstacle course, every test. And on graduation day, she stood in her dress blues on the parade grounds with 42 other new Marines. 6 recruits had quit. Riley wasn't one of them. In the crowd, she saw her mother, and standing next to her mother was Commander Vasquez. He was smiling. Riley smiled back. She'd never be her father.
She'd never saved 6 lives in a burning building, but she was a Marine, and that was enough.
Riley proved that courage isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up even when everything hurts. If this story moved you, honor it by subscribing and sharing it with someone who needs to hear it today. Drop a comment below telling us about a veteran in your life. We read every single one. New inspiring stories every week. See you in the next one.